Hello everybody, welcome to the sixth class on C++ programming language. In this one we are going to look at unary operators. The unary operators are the increment operator written by two plus signs, and the decrement operator is written by two minus signs. In the last class we have seen uh, simple mathematical operations like C plus, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and remainder operation. So let's start now. So the first line of code is an include directive that includes the input, the functions under the header file input output stream. Then the next line includes the namespace that tells the compiler that we are going to use the functions within the std namespace. And then this line 4 defines the function main that returns an integer value to the operating system. So in the first line, so this is the body of the main function. In the first line we declare or define an integer variable with the name counter and assign 10 to the counter value. So once this line is executed, counter will have a value of 10. So if you print cout counter equals 10 is printed here on the console. In the next line what we do is we add counter, we add 1 to the counter. So if you want to add 1 to the counter, you can write a statement like a C++ statement like this and end with the semicolon. So this statement is interpreted as read the value in the counter, which is 10, and add 1 to it. So 10 plus 1 is equal to 11. So 11 is assigned back to the counter. So once this line is executed, counter will have a value of 11. So if you print cout counter will be equal to 11 because we increase. So this is one way to increment counter. There's a second way which we looked at in the last video, that is a shorter way to write it, which is counter plus equals counter. So this line of statement is interpreted as read the value of counter, add 1 to it, and assign the total to the counter. So currently the variable counter has a value of 11. If you add 1 to 11, it will be 12. So 12 is assigned to the counter. So if you print cout counter will be equal to 12 here. So there's a third way. So the first way to increment counter is to write it like this: counter equals counter plus 1. The second way to increment counter is to counter plus equal sign 1. So this also increments counter. A third way is to use a unary operator or an increment operator, which is written as plus 2 plus signs. So in this line what happens is when this statement is executed, the counter value, the value in the counter is read. So currently the counter variable has a value of 12. If you add 1 to 12, it will become 13. So 13 is assigned back to the counters. So once this line is executed, the counter will be increased by 1. So if you print counter will be equal to 13. So counter equals 13 is printed on the console. The second operator is the decrement operator. Decrement operator is written by two minus signs. So when this line is executed, the value in the counter is read and decreased by 1, and then the result is assigned back to the counter. So once this line is executed, the current value is 13, decreased by 1, that's going to be 12. So 12 is assigned to the counter. So if you print counter, it will be 12. So in C++ there are two ways you can apply the unary operator. Either you can write the increment operator before the counter variable, or you can write the 2 plus signs after the counter variable. So if you write it before the variable name, this is called prefix operation. If you write it after the variable name like this in this line, it is called a postfix operation. So the difference between prefix and postfix is that in the prefix case, the counter is increased first before printing the value of counter onto the console. In the postfix operation, the current value of in the counter is printed first, and then the counter is increased. So at this line, this is a prefix operation. So what happens is the current value of counter is 12. So the counter is increased by 1, so that's going to be 13. So 13 is printed when this line is executed, as it here. In the next line, we print the counter value, that's again 13, because we don't perform any operation in this statement, so it's just printed. The counter value is printed, and that is 13. In the next line, we again perform a postfix operation. So in this one, what happens is the counter value that is in the current counter value is read, that is 13. So 13 is printed first. Once 13 is printed like here, then the counter value is increased. So once this line is executed, then at the end of execution, the counter will have a value of 14, but it's actually printed 13 on the console. So now if we execute the next line, it prints counter as 14 here. So the difference is, again, the difference is simple. So if you put the increment sign before the variable name, what happens is the counter is increased before printing it. So the increased value will be printed. But if you write the increment value after the variable name, the current value is printed and then increase the value of counter. Same with the decrement operator. So with this prefix operation, the counter is decremented first and then printed to the console, so it becomes 13. In the next line, we print again the counter, so it stays 13, and this is a postfix operation. So 13 is because the current value is 13 here, so 13 is printed, so here's 13, and then decrease the value by 1, that's going to be 12. So the 12 will be printed in the next statement, so 12 is here. That's all in this video, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.